This channel, $1 Million Made Easy, we love to run numbers for people. And recently, it's been a while ago, Dave Ramsey put out an 8% withdrawal rule, and he just completely shafted anybody that believes in the 4% withdrawal rule. And I see what his reasoning is, and I want to play a little bit of what he said here. Now we're going to look at the actual numbers. We've done this in another video. I'll link to that one, and it's more complete. But let's just see Dave's reasoning for what he says. Listen to what he says here.
Absolutely wrong. I'm gonna have to find out where that video is and get it taken down. Because that's just wrong. You don't need to have a 3% withdrawal rate. That's ridiculous. Or I hope you misunderstood. I hope we didn't put out trash like that.
Was it 4 to 5%?
No, it shouldn't be 4 to 5%. It ought to be more than that. I mean, if you're making 12 in good mutual funds and the S&P has averaged 11.8, and if inflation for the last 80 years has averaged 4%, if you make 12 and you need to leave 4% in there for inflation raises, that leaves you 8. So I'm perfectly comfortable drawing 8. But if you want to be a little bit conservative, 7, but sure not 5 or 3.
Well, I was trying to back check it because, 3 to 5, I thought that was a big range. And a lot of the studies I found showed.
Well, there's a lot of studies that are stupid in this space. So it's just wrong. Listen, man, the math I just gave you is the math. If you're making 12% and inflation is 4, and you leave 4 in there, so your nest egg grows by 4, it's simple. 8 is what's left over. So if you got $1 million and you leave 4% in there, that's $40,000. Okay, so you now have $1,040,000. So the next year you get a rate of return of 12%, 11.5% on the $1,040,000. And the next year it'll be $1,090,000. 1.1, right? And because your nest egg is growing by the rate of inflation, giving you a cost of living raise every year. So as long as you're doing that, you're fine. And so if you want to be a little bit conservative, maybe 5%. But there's all these goobers out there who have always put this 4% crap in the market, and I'm just irate right now that we have joined the stupidity.
Why is it that stupid, though?
It's too low. It's too low because it's not realistic. You do not need to live on 4% of your money for your nest egg to survive.
Yeah, even if you did a rate of return of 10% or something.
Yeah, and what it sets up is this guy now, he doesn't think he's got enough money. And he's already got $120,000 and he's 30 years old and he's on a plan. He's on a plan to be very wealthy and he's worried he's going to have enough money or not.
Yeah.
Because stupid people put out low withdrawal rates. Like if you think you can only pull off 4% off of investments making 12, where the flip is the other 8% going? Well, 4% of it went to inflation. That's where it went. The other 4% is just sitting there. So you are growing your investments instead of living off of them. I'm not destroying the nest egg. I'm not even touching the nest egg. I'm growing the nest egg.
Catch what he said there? I'm growing the nest egg. I'm not even touching the nest egg. And his whole point is, if you're only drawing off 4%, you think you're going to need twice as much money. Let's just actually look at the numbers here. If you believe you need $6,750 a month to live on, which would be 8.1% or whatever, and you have $1 million, according to Dave's reasoning, the stock market gets 12%, you pull 8% off, you're going to grow by 4% a year. You can see these numbers going down through, you're going to grow by that. But the point is, he's trying to defend that if you only take off 4%, let's go ahead and do 4% right here, 3.9%, whatever. Your numbers are going to be even higher, quicker. You can take out 8% and never even touch. Notice he said you never even touch the $1 million. What is he not taking into account? Let's go back to 6750. He's not taking into account, go back to 8%. He's not going to take into account that the market doesn't go 12% every year. And so I can understand his reasoning, and it sounds so good on the surface, but the market doesn't do that. Let's see what the market actually does. In fact, what I've got is the numbers over here. You reset this to the actual numbers right here. In the last 100 years, you would have run out of money 35 times given that scenario. Taking out 8% because the market does not average 12%. I just wanted to point this out. I'm going to link to another video that I go into this in more depth, but I just wanted to cover this again. His reasoning sounds good on the surface. The problem with it is his math. He calls everybody stupid with the 4% rule. But with the 4% rule, let me just show you. Right here, you run out of money 35 times. Again, I'm going to link to another video that explains this more. Let's go to the 4% rule. Let's update this. Right now, at 8%, you're running out of money 35 times. How many times you're running out of money? The 4% rule. It's calculating. Just 2 times less 100 years. 1929, 1930 were such horrible years. But I go into it in another video. I'm going to link to that video. But his reasoning was, if you're getting 12%, it makes sense. He says, if you have to live on the 4% rule, you got to have twice as much money. And people say, well, I can never retire then. So that was his reasoning. But you got to look at the actual returns, not a 12% average return. That's what we do on this channel. We run numbers, but we also look at some of the issues that are happening right now in the financial world. And that's what caused such a buzz, that Dave Ramsey was calling everybody foolish and dumb and moronic. And people would just respond to that. No, you can't use 12% returns, average returns. You've got to look at the actual returns. So again, that's what we do on this channel. Please consider subscribing. Please share this channel with your friends. Look at some of the other videos. We go in a lot more depth on both the savings end of it, the accumulation end of it, and also when it comes time to retire. Please subscribe, please share, and thanks for watching and liking the video.